In this video, we're going to find both dy dx and d squared y over dx squared, which is the second derivative. So we're finding both first and second derivative. Because our x's and y's are mixed together, we're going to do this implicitly. So we are going to start by just taking the first derivative. So the derivative of 2x squared would be 4x dx dx. Then I notice in the middle here, it looks like I've got a product rule, so I've got my red and my green. Derivative of my red would be dx dx. I keep the green the way it is. I put an addition symbol in between. Then I keep the red the way it is and take the derivative of my green, which is dy dx. And then finally, the derivative of negative 4y squared would be negative 8y dy dx. And the derivative of 6 equals 0. So now I'm going to collect everything that has a dy dx on the left and everything else on the right. At the same time I'm moving things to the right, I'm going to turn my dx dx's into 1s. So to move this over, I would subtract it. And to move this over, I would also subtract it. So it would just be a y. Then we have, on the left side, we're left with x dy dx minus 8y dy dx. Then I'm going to factor out the dy dx. So dy dx, and what's left behind is 8x minus 8y equals negative 4x minus y. Then we're going to divide by what's left in the parentheses here. So we've got negative 4x minus y over x minus 8y. It's a pretty ugly dy dx. But we're now going to go ahead and take the derivative of that. And we are not going to simplify the second derivative. So that is definitely a quotient rule. So I've got my red, I've got my green. All right, so I'm going to set up my second derivative here. So d squared y over dx squared equals. So the derivative of my red would be negative 4 dx dx minus dy dx. And then we just multiply by the green the way it is, so x minus 8y. The operation in between is subtraction. So now we're going to do the red the way it looks. So that's going to be negative 4x minus y. And then we're going to take the derivative of the green. The derivative of the green would be dx dx minus 8 dy dx. And then all over the green, the x minus 8y squared. Now, that's really super ugly. All we're going to do is replace our dy dx's and reduce our dx dx's to 1. And then but we're not going to try to simplify it beyond that. So we're going to do negative 4 minus, and then I'd probably put a parentheses around this, negative 4x minus y over x minus 8y. And then the green just gets dropped down, x minus 8y minus the negative x minus y. The dx dx is going to turn into 1 minus 8, and then I'm going to plop my dy dx in here again, so I'm plopping this in again. So negative 4x minus y over x minus 8y, all over the x minus 8y squared.